make sure that's on.
Okay, begin, please.
Hi class, it's Miss Barlotta again. How are we all doing today?
Oh, hi, doing great. How are you?
I'm great, thanks for asking. So, I want to get started. Oh, thank you. Alright, so I want to get started by giving you guys your I can statement, and we talked about this before, and this means that by the end of the lesson you're going to be able to say, I can do this. So today you're going to say, I can compare two different fractions and find fractions that come between them. So today we're going to take some of our skills out of our toolbox, our knowledge toolbox we have here, right? We already know about parts of fractions. We're going to be using that. We're going to be using our basic addition, subtraction, multiplication facts, division facts. We're also going to be using our prior knowledge of equivalent fractions. All right, so raise your hand if you're with me and you're ready.
Totally ready.
Yeah, totally ready. Awesome. Okay, so to start you off with, I am going to do a problem with you guys, and we're all going to do it together. Now, listen first for the problem, and then we're going to walk through it together.
All right.
All right, so it goes like this. CJ eats 1/2 of her candy bar, but wants to eat a little more.
Yeah, you bet. I'm going to eat the whole thing. I ate a ton of candy for Halloween.
Yeah, I'm sure you did.
Because I ate a ton.
You ate a ton? Well, actually, this candy bar, you don't want to eat the whole thing because you want to save some. But you want to eat more than you don't want to eat more than 3/4 of the candy bar. Okay, so how much of the candy bar can CJ possibly eat? So let's go over there.
So specific.
You're very specific with this candy bar. So you're going to eat 1/2, but you're not going to eat more than 3/4. We have those numbers in our head, right? Let me write that down.
Yeah.
So we can remember.
Yeah, please.
Yeah, definitely. So we're going to eat 1/2, but we don't want to eat more than 3/4. And just to refresh real quick, we also know that the bottom number of a fraction, the denominator, is the total number of groups we have, right? Or in this case, pieces of our candy bar. And our top number is going to be how many of those groups or how many of those pieces of the candy bar that we're looking at. Yeah. Okay, so is everybody with me in the back row? Maria, CJ, Kevin, you're with me? Yep, okay, excellent.
Yeah.
All right, so first, let's draw a picture so we can see what we're talking about. Let's see what we're talking about with this candy bar.
Let's look at the candy bar.
All right, so this is my candy bar. All right, so first I'm going to draw 1/2, right, because we said she's going to eat 1/2 of the candy bar. So I divided it in half, and I colored my candy bar in. But she doesn't want to eat more than 3/4 of it, so we're going to have to find what comes in between those. So let's divide this one candy bar into 4 pieces. Let me make that a little bit bigger. Okay, so how much of this candy bar should I shade in if I have 3/4 of it?
They're not quite the same size, but that's okay. I guess I'll eat the biggest one first.
Okay.
So, how much is it I want to eat?
This one we're talking about 3/4. This is our 1/2.
So yes, I guess you do 3 parts of it.
Alright, so I'm going to shade in 3 parts of my candy bar. Okay. So now looking at this candy bar, which one of these is more and why? Can someone raise their hand and tell me? Sean, yes.
I guess the bottom one.
The bottom one. And why do you think so?
Because they're the same size, but more of it is shaded.
But more of it is
eating more in the second one.
We're eating more in the second one, right. Okay, so what can we do? As you're saying that there's more, right? So that we have more pieces and we're eating more of those pieces, right? Okay, so class, what can we do to make these have the same number of pieces? Each bar, break them into the same number of pieces.
Well, you have to divide the first one 2 more times.
2 more times, right? Because we want to have 4. So let me break this up again. Now, this is still 1/2 of the bar, right? But Kevin, now what else can we call this? If I have now 4 pieces and I have 2 of them here that I'm eating. What else can I call this? How many pieces total? How many pieces total do we have now?
So if I'm only eating 2 out of the 4, is that what you're saying?
Yeah, how can I write that as a fraction?
2 over 4.
Yeah, 2 over 4. So now we have the same amount of parts in each, right?
Ah, I see.
Right. But here's where we run into trouble, right? CJ doesn't want to eat more than 3/4, but she already ate a half. So how can we find a piece in between these 2 pieces that she can eat?
Wow, who knew eating candy could be so complicated?
I know, it's pretty complicated, but candy is worth it, right?
Okay, so I guess it would be 1/4. Is what she needs to eat at the top, so it's the same. Is that what you're asking?
I'm asking, what can we do? What's in between 2/4 and 3/4 of this?
Oh. In between, like what number is in between?
Like what fraction can we do in between those 2? And 2 and 3 is back to back, right? So how are we going to find something in between that?
I don't know.
I don't know. That's why we're doing it together. Ed, what did we do last time with this candy bar? We had 4 pieces, and then what did we do with this one to get 4 pieces?
We split it up because you only had 2, but we made it into 4 pieces.
Right, we split it up. So Maria, do you think there's a way that we could split these candy bars up so we could find some more pieces that could be in between 2 and 3/4?
Yeah, you could split it up more.
Yeah, what would you suggest I split it up into?
Like looking at the drawing?
Yeah,
you could split each one of the panels in half.
Each one of these?
Yeah, I guess so.
Okay. So if I split each one of these in half again, I'm going to do it for both, right? Because we're looking at the same candy bar. How many pieces do I have now? The total, if I counted each panel.
8.
We have 8 pieces. All right, so now, class, let's go back to our fractions here. So if this was my original, we had 1/2, we have 2/4, and then we have 8 pieces. And how many of those 8 pieces do we have here if I put it into 8s?
It looks like only 2 pieces.
It looks like
right.
only 2 pieces. Maybe if
because the coloring goes.
I know, I'm sorry.
Line, I'm not really
Let me color that in a little bit better. Does that look a little bit?
Okay, so it's 4. No, it's just 2. Or 4.
Let's count the pieces here. We have 1 piece, 2, 3, 4.
Oh,
Right.
so all of those are okay. Because I just didn't see the color in all of them. That's what.
Oh, I'm sorry. I could color it in a little bit more.
Okay. Yes. Then 4.
Okay, so we have 4. So now, is this still the same as 1/2 of the whole thing?
Yeah. I guess that's half of the whole thing.
It is, right? Because if we have 8 pieces, and I have 4 of them eaten, that's half, right?
of it.
Okay. So now, we have 8 pieces down here. How many of these are going to be colored in to get to 8's class?
And then from the bottom we have 5, maybe 6. I can't tell if it's colored in.
All right. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Does that
Okay,
help?
then it is. Then 6.
6. Okay, awesome. So now we're looking at something with a common denominator. We have the same amount of pieces in each, but which one is more? Which one has more pieces, Kevin?
You're still eating more at the bottom.
Right. We're still eating more of the bottom. But now, when we look at it, can we find something between these two? Is there something between 4/8 and 6/8 that we can look at?
5.
CJ? 5? Okay, Sean, that's good. 5. We can look at 5. So, So I was gonna color it in. I'm gonna use a different color so you can see it. How many pieces am I shading in for that then, based on what you said?
Wait, I said 5 because the number between 4 and 6.
It's between 4 and 6. And so if we have 5 between 4 and 6, 5 pieces, how many pieces am I shading in?
5. But you have 6 in one and 5 in the 4 in the other.
But I'm using this drawing, how many pieces we have, and then what I'm going to do is I'm going to put a new color over it to show what our new amount eaten could be. Does that make sense, class?
Okay.
Okay. I know it's hard to see a little bit with the coloring, but if I colored in 5 now, this is my new color. I'm going to put it over. I'm going to put it over the original one. All right, I colored in 5 pieces. So we had 4/8, 6/8, and you told me that 5/8 came in between them, right? So when I asked the original question, I said, CJ already ate a half of the candy bar, but she doesn't want to eat more than 3/4. What amount of the candy bar do you think she could eat now that could be in between those two?
Wait, what amount she can't eat in between?
Yeah, she wants to eat a little bit more than a half, but she doesn't want to go all the way to eating 3/4 of it. What did we find that was between 1/2 and 3/4?
5/8?
5/8, yes. Awesome. So, now, let's kind of explain why this works a little bit. If I look at our numbers here, I am going to say that four-eighths is close to 1/2, right? Raise your hand if you believe 4/8 is close to half. Right. Okay. Now 5/8, is it close to half? 4/8? CJ, what do you think?
If it's close to it,
Yeah.
yeah, I guess so.
Yeah, but it's close to it. But is it a little bit more than a half?
Yeah.
Yeah, right, because that would be 4, half would be 4, and that's 1 more is 5. Okay, now let's look at our other fraction. We had 6/8. Is that closer to a half or is it closer to a whole? Having 8 out of 8.
Closer to a whole.
It's closer to a whole. Okay, and now comparing it, is 6/8 going to be bigger than 5/8?
Well, yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so does this answer, does 5/8 work for a number that comes in between 1/2 and 3/4?
Yeah, definitely.
Definitely,
I
right?
have a question. When you started, we could look at the drawings, and it was just easy to see one was bigger than the other. Why did we go through all of that?
Why did we go through all the drawings?
Yeah.
Because I wanted you to see if we actually, I don't have an actual candy bar to hand you right now breaking these pieces, but I wanted you to see that if we broke it up, we could make it the same amount of pieces and then measure which one is more, which one is less, and which one could kind of be in the middle of those. Does that make sense?
Okay.
Right, because I don't have a candy bar right now that I can do that with, but we could see using a picture. But what did I do at the end when I just explained with words? Did I still get the same answer? Did I still prove that that was in between? Class?
Yeah.
When I said, oh, is 4/8 close to half and 5/8 is close to that, did I still prove that this worked?
Yeah.
Yeah. So you could use a picture to prove it, right? Because if you look at my picture, look, remember this is my original half. This is my original 3/4. This is less. This is more. And this comes right in between these two. So not only did I solve it with a picture, but then I used my words. I used looking at the fractions to prove it. So you have different strategies. So CJ, this goes back to you asking about the picture. I use a picture for my strategy, but I also use my words and comparing my fractions based on my previous knowledge that I had. So there's different strategies that you could use to solve it. Yeah, so whatever way is more comfortable, whatever works for you, that's how you do it. So based on what we just did together, raise your hand if you feel like you have a good idea of how to find a fraction that comes in between two other fractions. Just raise your hand if you feel like this makes sense to you somewhat.
Like, wait, sorry, we couldn't hear you. Raise your hand if you what?
Raise your hand if you feel like you understand how we got this fraction in between these other two fractions. Okay, does anybody have any questions before we move on? Now's your time to ask.
No, it's just like a lot of going back and forth, so I don't know if I'm gonna remember all the steps.
That's okay. I mean, like I said, it's kind of how you want to approach it. It's a strategy that works for you. So if it's a lot of steps and you look at it, break it down, if I wasn't explaining it to you, maybe I was doing it by myself, I might skip a few steps and I might color in something ahead of time. So we're going to work together. We're going to keep on trying. It's a lot of steps, but we're going to get it. And that's why we're here to work together as a class, and that's why we're going to do some more practice. All right. So if you guys don't mind, we are going to try another problem, but I want you guys to try, with your partner. And like I said before, you can use a different strategy than I use. You can use the same strategy, whatever works best for you. So give me a second, I'll erase this, and I'll let you know what the problem is. Like I said, feel free to ask questions anytime you have a question. That's what I'm here for. Okay. So the new problem that we're going to be working with is Maria, Ed, and Sean walk the same path to school each day. Maria is 1/3 of her way to school, and Ed is 2/3 of the way there. Sean is ahead of Maria, but he's also behind Ed. How far along the path could Sean possibly be?
Oh my god.
I know, it sounds like a lot.
Yeah.
But let's break it down, and then we're going to work together. So the first part I said was we have 3 people, right? We have Maria, Ed, and Sean, and they're all walking the same path to school. Okay, so like let's say this is our school path. They're all walking the same path. Maria is 1/3 of the way there. So let's say this is Maria. And Ed is 2/3 of the way there. So where along this path, let me write the fractions, that would definitely help, right? Where along this path could Sean be? So here's Sean. Okay. So what I want you to do is, I want you to work with a partner and just come up with some steps how you would solve it. Just try it out. You don't have to have the perfect answer.
Okay, so 1/3 is Maria.
Mm-hmm.
We don't know about Sean.
Mm-hmm.
And then Ed is 2/3.
Yep.
Okay, and we gotta figure out where Sean is.
Yep.
Like in between.
Mm-hmm. Yep, and we got to use what we just used in the last problem, right? We found what fraction was in between those two that we were looking at, so we can use some of those strategies. But I want you to work with a partner, so take a couple seconds, work with a partner, and just get some ideas out. Just write some down on the pad, and then we'll talk about it, okay? And when you're ready, just let me know what page you're on, and then we can go from there.
Ed and I were working on page 2.
On page 2, okay. So let's hop over to page 2. And the rest of the class should be listening, right, Maria, Kevin, and CJ? So that we can all see what our friends are working on. Okay. So page 2. All right. Explain to me what you got going on here, friends.
So we started. We're not sure if we got an answer.
No, that's fine. Like I
but
said.
yet.
All right, explain to me with your words what I'm looking at.
So we started with the 2 blocks, kind of like you drew them, of the 1/3 and then the 2/3, and then we divided them in more pieces. So then we had 6 pieces. So then the one at the bottom was bigger, so we shaded 2 at the top so it could be the same. But I don't know if we did that right.
Okay, you guys are on the right track. And what's with the 4, 6? Explain that.
Well, we counted after we added those 2 red ones, and it became 4, 6. But then the bottom one became 4, 6 as well. So I think we did something wrong.
Okay, yeah, there might be something going on.
Maybe it should have been 2, 6, right? And maybe the bottom would have been 1, 2, 3, 4, 6.
Oh, yeah. See, you're looking at your problem, you're talking it out loud, and you're correcting your mistakes as you go. That's excellent. So, what you guys have started here is excellent. We're going to come back. Let me check in with everybody, and then we're going to figure out how we got our answer here together, okay? Is that okay with you, Sean?
Yeah, that sounds good.
Okay, so CJ, did you work with Kevin?
Yeah, but we didn't quite finish.
That's quite all right. Like I said, we're just going to get started. So what page are you guys on?
We're in 7.
7. Okay. Okay. So explain to me what you started with.
We just drew like the 2 bars like you did before. And it was 1/3 and then 2/3, and we needed to find something in the middle. But we thought maybe it could be, actually we didn't write it, but I can write it now. We thought it would be 1.5 over 3, because that's in between 1 and 2.
Right. Okay, so 1.5 is exactly between those 2 numbers, right? It's also...
Yeah, that was our answer.
Stop.
Oh man, I was like on the roll.
Wow, that was really great. You got a lot covered.
I don't know about that. I had a lot more in my lesson.
Oh my gosh, it was wonderful. Okay, well, Sophia's getting her